Okay, so one more interruption from my dentist trying to get a hold of me. So we are number 12. Find the median, mode, and range of Vonda's game scores. So the next part just said, since there is an even number of scores, the median is the average of the two middle scores. Now to find average, okay, average is what we do with median. So to find the average of something, you take two numbers, you add them together, and then you divide by how many numbers there were. So, for example, if you have two numbers, let's say your numbers are 3 plus 5. Okay, this is kind of like a little off-topic lesson, but not completely off topic because it's average. So you take two numbers. Let's say I have these two numbers, 3 and 5 in my list. Okay, so I take those two, we add them up, we get 8, and we had two numbers, so then we say 8 divided by 2, and we get the number 4. So the average of the numbers 3 and 5 is 4. Okay, so, and that's very much the way that we find median. When we have a whole list of numbers like we have in number 12, and there's two numbers left over, so there's two middle scores. Once we cut off the ends, if we get 2 in the middle, then we have to find the average. So we take those two numbers, we add them together, and then we divide by 2 since there was two numbers, and that is our average or our median number. Okay, so now that we know what average means, we can continue on. Okay, so the numbers we have, first of all, I really recommend that you write down all the numbers that you are given in the order that they are given. So first of all, we were given the number 100. Then we have 80, then we have 90, then we have 85, and then 100, and then 90, 100, and one more 100. Let me check it. 100, 80, 90, 85, 100, 90, 100, and 100. And I was moving along in my book to make sure I got each one. Now that I have that, I don't have to keep looking in my book and possibly getting myself confused. Now I can go ahead and put them in order. Let's try the color orange, see if you can see it. Okay, the smallest number, we always write the list smallest to greatest. I see is 80. Oh, I think you can see that. And I'm going to cross out the 80 because I've written it now. Next is 85, so I'm going to cross that out. Next I see 90. I've used it. Let me get rid of it. I see another 90. Okay. And then I see 100, 100, 100, and 100 4 times. So let me write that while you also write it. I'm going too fast. Pause, because I want you to follow along. So I wrote down 1, 2, 3, 4 hundreds. Okay, I can still see the numbers under there, but I did a pretty good job of crossing them out so I know that I've got them all. I don't have to worry about that top line anymore. Now that they're in order, I can find the 3 or 4 different things that I am asked. And in this case, I'm asked the median, the mode, and the range. So that's going to be my answer. I'll put my answer over here this time. Median, mode, and the range. And I'll use the space to the right here to figure these out. So this is going to be my answer. Okay, all right. So first of all, I think the easiest one to do is the mode. which is the number that's used the most. So what is the number that's used the most? It is 100. It's used 4 times. 90 is used twice, but 100 is used 4 times. So that is the mode. Done. Next, I think the next easy one is the range. To find the range, here's what we do. We take the largest number minus the smallest number, which is 80, and we get 20. So the range is 20. Also done. Okay, so that leaves figuring out the median. Okay, the median, which is also the average. So another word for this is average. Okay. All right, so what we do to find the median next is we start crossing out the first 2, the second 2, the third ones, and we are left with these 2 middle numbers, 90 plus 100. Well, the median can't be 2 numbers, so we have to figure out what is the exact average or middle of both of those. Now you can kind of see that's probably 95, but there's no guessing in this. We have to actually do the work to be sure we get it right. So the median, we take the 2 numbers, 90 plus 100, and we get a number. Then we're going to take that number and divide by 2 to get our median. Okay. So here's some things we don't know off the top of the head. So add the 2 middle numbers together and then divide by 2. 90 plus 100 is 190. Okay, 190 divided by 2 doesn't immediately pop into your head like 180 divided by 2 we would know is 90. That's not what we're doing here. So why don't we take some more space, maybe here at the end, and actually do the math. 190 divided by 2. Can you see that okay? Focus on this. 2 times what brings you close to 19? Well, 2 times 9 does. 2 times 9 is 18. So subtract that, you get, oops, did I do that wrong? 9 minus 8 is 1. Bring down that 0. Okay, wait, let me make sure you can see that okay. I don't want this shadow. Okay, here we go, that's better. Okay, so 19 minus 18 was 1. I brought down that 0. 2 times 5 makes 10. 10 minus 10 is 0. So 90 plus 100 is 190. 190 divided by 2 is 95. So what's our median? Our median was 95. Ta-da! Or the average of those 2 numbers. So the median of all of this set of numbers is 95. Wow, that's a lot of work. It sure is, but step by step, we know what to do and how to do it. Okay, let's move on. Get out of the way so you can pause and see what we're doing. In case you needed to pause the video. Okay, here we go. A lot of work. So go ahead and start your next star problem, please. And remember that you do need to show your work. This is what it means that you show your work. Okay, how are you actually doing it? Even if you can do some of this in your head, we show our work. Excuse me. So the next star problem we come to is number 24. Number 24. Which says draw and shade circles to show that 3 3/4 equals 15/4. Okay, awesome. All right, so I notice, first of all, I look to see what how many equal parts do I have? So I can see just on this side, 3 3/4, I have 1, 2, 3 full circles plus another 3/4. Okay, so that means all of this is going to be divided into fourths. Even the first 3 is divided into fourths. It's just that 3 whole parts are shaded. I mean, the whole thing is shaded. You have 3 whole circles. Boom, boom, boom. So there you go. Here's 1 out of the 3. Here's the second one. Here's the third one. Plus, we have the 3 out of 4. 1, 2, 3. So now that I've done 3, 1, 2, 3, and 3/4, and I've shown that, is this the same as 15/4? Let's see. There's 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And yes, indeed, we have 15/4. So that's perfect. Okay. Next, we are on to number 26. Okay. All right. Now, with each of these, I don't want you just to follow along. I want you to read the problem and think about it. So feel free to pause the video, and try to do it on your own. And then see if you and I are doing it the same way. See if you got it right. It's the best way to learn. So number 26. Okay, I recommend that we read it together, then you pause and do it on your own. So number 26 says, write a fraction equal to 1 with a denominator of 8. So we'll write a fraction that is equal to 1 that has a denominator of 8. Okay, well, 1 whole of something, let's say that we have this that's divided into 8, just to show it. Okay, to get 1 whole, let's just show it like this. So this has to also be divided into 8 then. Okay, and 1 whole means that all of it is shaded, which is the same as 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of 8 shaded. Okay, so that is how you would do it. 1 is 8/8. Okay, 1 can be 7/7, or 1 can be 6/6. Whatever it is, 1 can equal that because it's 1 whole, or 8 out of 8. Okay, so that is how we would do that one. Then we have number 27. Number 27 says, which of the following nets, okay, so here are the nets, folds up into a triangular prism. Now, you didn't really get to try this on your own. You didn't really get to do those nets, like I said, but what we can see is we're looking for something that folds into the same shape as the rectangular prism. Let's see, I'm sorry, the triangular prism that is at the top of page 642, okay, where there is this shape that kind of looks like a tent but longer. So it's like, here's a triangle, and let's see, here's a parallel line over here. Okay, then we have what looks like this rectangle here, and then we have what looks like another triangle in here, and then we have a line that goes kind of like this. Yeah, except these were dotted to show that it's not really there. How did that go? Does that look kind of okay? It's kind of terrible, sorry. But here is the point, that it is a triangle shape, but a long one, kind of like a Toblerone chocolate bar. Toblerone chocolate. I sure wish I had one of those here at home while I'm on quarantine. It's this long chocolate bar that at the end of it is a triangle. Okay. So anyway, how could you get this shape with letter A on page 645? Okay, this problem is, now we're looking at page 645. How could you do that with A? You can't. There's no triangle. What about B? B, there you go. There is a net that has the triangles at the end, but a long shape. So if you folded it over, B does give you a triangular prism. Look at C for a second. C, you can see that there's a square, which will be the bottom of a pyramid that will come up. So C is not a long triangular shape. So C does not work. And D, there's no triangles whatsoever. So that's not going to work. So even though we didn't get to do much with triangular prisms and other prisms, we can see that B is the correct one. Okay. So let's see, number 28. Number 28 says, Songi, perhaps, Sanji, measured the paper in her notebook and found that it was 28 centimeters long. So let's just write that down. The paper is 28 centimeters long. Write the length of her paper in meters. Okay, so if her paper is 28 centimeters, okay, a centimeter is, well, there's 100 centimeters in a meter. Here's my meter stick right here. I brought one from school to have here at home. Okay, and here are the centimeters, right? They're the ones that are the size of maybe your pointer finger, okay? For me, it'd be more like my little pinky finger. My fingers are bigger than yours. So there's 100 centimeters, and we're talking about 28, which is right here. I know you can't really see it, sorry, but 28 centimeters. And the question is, how many parts of a meter is that? Because a meter is larger than this. So, well, of a whole long meter, here's a little centimeter, okay? So this is 28 centimeters out of 100 centimeters that are in a meter, okay? So when we say 28 hundredths, well, isn't that the same as 0.28 hundredths? Okay, so it's like, here's the part, the fraction part, 28 out of 100 that you have on a whole meter, because 1 meter equals 100 centimeters. So 28 centimeters, somewhere over here, is 28 out of 100 centimeters that you would have in a whole meter. Okay, so the answer is 28 hundredths of a meter. Let's see. And we would usually write 0.28 meters. Okay, number 29 says round 12 and 5/12 to the nearest whole number. Okay, that means it's let's write that down. So 12 and 5/12. Okay, well, 12 and 6/12 would be exactly a half, right? So here, if you were looking at a number line, if here's 12 and here's 13, 12 and a half would be like 12 and 6/12, right? That's 12 and a half, or 12.5. Okay. So we are closer to 12. And that is our answer. Our answer is 12. Just a little tiny bit closer to 12. And lastly, we have number 30, which again has to do with this lesson that we didn't get to cut up shapes and glue them back together this year. But we have 30A, question 30A says, what is the geometric name for the shape of a cereal box? And we know that it is a rectangular prism. A rectangular prism. Another way we could call this is a rectangular solid, and I'll just give you that answer. Okay, and letter B says, how many edges does this box have? Okay, now if I was looking at a cube, again, then what we would be counting is all the line parts. Okay, so how many edges does that box have? So count what you see, and all together count what you see and what you imagine on the back side. You should find 12 edges on a cereal box. If you're not sure, go get a cereal box. Okay, and letter C, it says describe the angles. Well, just like on a cube, if this was a little bit longer, maybe like my little journal over here, if this is kind of the shape of a cereal box, but not quite so tall. So question is, what shape does what can we say about the angles? Well, each of the angles is a 90-degree angle, so we can say that they are all right angles, or you could say they are all 90-degree angles. All right, well, that completes our lesson for today, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.